A new trailer hits and the cover price top 10 gets completely nullified. Let's take a look at the books on the list up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Greetings, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. And in this video, we're going to cover the Covrprice top 10. Covrprice is a comic book grading service. I pay for Covrprice. They don't pay me. And every week I do a top 10 list. They do the books that are moving the most in the aftermarket, both graded and wrong. Covrprice is kind of unique amongst the grading services when you compare them to two other major ones, GP Analysis and Go Collect. Those only account for CGC graded sales, but there are a lot more raw books out there than graded books. So Covrprice attempts to do that as well. So they also produce articles and lists, and we have this one, which is kind of fun that we do every week. So let's jump into the list and see what made this week's top 10. And coming in at number 10 on the list is Uncanny X-Men #1. This is the second print by David Marquez. It's a 1 in 25, and it reprints the first cameo appearance of the Outliers. Those characters who are more than 1.5 IQRs away from the upper and lower quartiles, or 2 standard deviations away from the mean. I don't know what they are, but let's take a look at what Covrprice had to say about this book. While X-Men seems to be back in the back burner over the MCU, the comics have been releasing great content. In the latest release, Uncanny X-Men #1, and they did reboot all the titles. There's X-Men, Uncanny, X-Force, X something else. Introduced us to a new mutant team, the Outliers. In true comic book fashion, a request for help is misunderstood and a battle ensues. Once the confusion is clear, the X-Men will welcome the new super team. This second printing retailer incentive is the first cover appearance of that team. As we've seen in all these null keys, second prints and cover appearances are top-tier collector's items. More on that momentarily. Let's go to number 9 on the list, and it is Venom #3, the second printing, which is the first full appearance of Knull. The book sells for about $50 raw. It's been going for $99, about $100 in a 9.8. There was a high $50 sale. Most of the sales are kind of between $25 and $45. Let's take a look at the graded sales of this book. It's been, kind of hovering around $100 more or less the entire life of the book. Recent sales, again, in the $100 range. All Venom #3 books are currently hot commodities. While this book is lower on the list, it still has a ton of sales growth in the past few days since the trailer debuted. So the new trailer for the third Venom movie came out, and we saw a little hint of the character Knull, evidently played by Norman Reedus, Daryl of The Walking Dead. Even though it is not the most popular reprint of issue #3, it still holds value for collectors of Knull. I'm wondering how many people are looking to, if they're big Knull fans, are looking to collect every single variant of this. There are several. There aren't a lot of store exclusives, but there are a lot of second prints and second print ratios, as we will see. Let's go to number 8. Number 8 on the list is Venom #3. It is the Scan Frankie's Comics Golden Apple Comics edition. High grade books are going for about $50 or $60, and 9.8 in the $120 range. Again, this is a book that came out in 2018, so it's a fairly recent book. And this one, look at all these sales since the trailer. Not a big jump in value, but it's kind of solidified the value in probably the $125 range. Another popular Venom artist is Scan, and his variant of Knull's first appearance has been making aftermarket waves. This book was a collaborative store exclusive with Frankie's Comics and Golden Apple Comics. The book also has a Virgin variant version, which seems that the trade copy is much easier to find. And that's why this one made the list. I guess not enough traded hands because there aren't that many of the variants. Let's go to number 7 on the list. And number 7 on the list is Venom number 3, the Jorge Molina 1 in 25 variant. And this one is quite pricey. You're going to have to pay about $200 or so for a high grade copy, and up over $300 for a 9.8, even well over $100 for recent sales in 9.2, 9.4. If we look at the historical sales, again, Knull was kind of specced on during the boom. He had been back in the storylines, and it kind of jumped up. And then, this book has never really fallen too much in value. Probably fell into the 300s, but we can see now. Well, look at all these sales are all in the last week. People are scooping up 9.8s of this book. I would be careful. It had fallen under $300. And we'll talk about this as speculation in a few minutes, while the fans of Jorge Molina and Venom are flooding to the aftermarket to pick up this issue. There was a retailer incentive for Venom number 3, and is now one of the harder variants to track down. The raw near mint value of this book is nearly twice the amount of cover A. It is likely this book could trend higher if it was easier to find and more affordable. For the time being, it looks like the book will be going to the avid comic book hunter who's willing to pay a decent price for a Venom key. Let's take a look at number 6. And this is Venom number 4. And it is the origin of Knull and Nowhere. Nowhere, the severed head of the Celestial we had seen in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. This particular book selling for about $20 and still under $100 in a 9.8. You can see that in about $75, but I guess it had been listed for auction, and somebody was able to scoop it up for $28 just after the announcement. And we can see before, auctions, we're going for a case cost for a graded 9.8s, which is kind of crazy. It had jumped up at one point over $200, but had kind of settled down in, let's say, the $50 range, and even lower. $20 and $30 sales of this book. By now, you have an idea of where this list is going, and while Knull may not succeed in conquering Earth in Venom: The Last Dance, he certainly has conquered the top 10 list. This book features the origins of Knull and the creation of Nowhere through the severing of a celestial head. In this issue, we see how Knull created his planet of symbiotes. We also get a nice full art page of Miles Morales punching Knull right on the jaw. The art is used for the second printing of this book and could be considered Knull's first cover appearance. So let's go to number 5 on the list, and that is Thor: God of Thunder number 6. Not a Venom title book, but it's the first appearance of Knull in Cameo, Unnamed in Flashback, and the origin of Gore. This book currently is selling for $50. We'll want a sale of $170 or $70, and a graded sale in the $150 range. Of course, this book jumped to stratospheric heights in anticipation of the Thor: Love and Thunder movie, in which Christian Bale played Gore the God Butcher, and it was holding, about $400. And then what happened? The movie came out, and the prices plummeted to about $100. And we can see the last few sales are all in the $150 range since the trailer announcement, kind of steady in that area, whereas it had previously dropped to $56. This is now worth more than the first appearance of Gore, because people are running away from Gore after that movie, because there's no future for Gore. And let this be a word of warning. We'll come back to this. This book saw a significant bump when Thor: Love and Thunder announced Gore the God Butcher is the main villain. After the lackluster reception of this film, the book took a nosedive and rarely makes an appearance. Aside from being the origin of Gore, this book also harbors another key, a Knull cameo. This cameo is why we see this book trending on the aftermarket again. Let's go to number 4. And it is Venom number 3, the third printing by Ryan Stegman. And this book is very pricey. $250 for a high-grade raw, $400 for a 9.8. And for some reason, I thought I had this book. I might be wrong. I thought I had picked this book up at some point, but I'll have to dig through the archives to see if I do have that. Because I had looked at something else. Yeah, I had a Venom 4. With the third printing of Venom 4, but not Venom 3. I don't know. I thought I had picked it up at a garage sale or something at some point. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I couldn't find it today. But this book, I mean, if we look at the historical pricing of the 9/8, this one was about $100 to be for the boom, and then boom, plus movie spec jumped up to $800 and has kind of been sliding down all the way since still holding a considerable amount of value at about $250 at its low point, and then it's jumped back up again, upwards. I would say right now the fair market value of this book, if I were going to list this book, I'd list it for $400. We have a few sales for $400, probably, reasonably sell for, let's say, $375, but I think $400 is a fair asking price for this book in a 9.8. While the first print of this issue is at the top of this list, spoiler warning, don't count out this third print. It may be lower in the list, but it's the second most valuable reprint. The reason is that many believe it to be the first cover appearance of the God of Symbiotes. However, a less flattering first cover appearance occurs in the second printing of Venom number 4, which was released before this issue. This issue is more attractive to collectors because the third print had a low print run, making it much harder to find. What is the census on this? 1,900, 80% of them in 9/8. So let's go to number 3 on the list. And that is, it's not Venom. It's Guardians of the Galaxy number 23, which is the first appearance of Clintar, the symbiote planet. So all connected here. This is a cheaper book, about a $15 to $20 book, and just over $100 in a 9.8. There are only 70 of them on the census, so not a lot. You can see people are able to get $100. Actually, there's only one sale of a 9.8 recently, but all these null keys are jumping up in value. And it is fair to say the latest Venom The Last Dance trailer would kick all related keys into high gear. This is an unexpected one to hit so high on the list. The first appearance of Clintar, the symbiote planet. The trail offers us a brief glimpse of Knull and his throne. Some fans speculate that this would be most of what we see of the symbiote planet, with the story mostly focusing on the invasion of Earth. While Venom number 3 has a larger buy-in, this book is an easier find and has a lower price, making it a top key to hunt down. We track 32 copies sold, yada, yada, yada. So, all know all the time. But number 2, we get a little reprieve. It's the comic trading pack, the sealed comic trading pack blind by Whatnot. And it's been going for $170, $180. And so, in case you're unaware, Marvel Comics partnered with Whatnot to launch their Marvel Comic trading packs. There were 4 pack designs with 3 random X-Men 97 variants, number 1 variants in each one. The pack designs were collaborations with renowned Marvel artists Ariel Olivetti, Rob Liefeld, Salvador LaRocca, and Steven Segovia. Based on tracking of each sealed pack and individual issue sales, Liefeld's sealed pack design had the most traffic. While this marketing concept was announced, the fan base was divided on whether this would be good for comic books. However, the sales clearly show that the tactic was a success. Not only were the blind bags selling at record speeds, but they were immediately trending in the aftermarket. This promotional run was only offered to a select few in the Whatnot community, but time will tell whether Marvel Comics will decide to offer these blind bags to your local comic shops as well. So I got an email from Whatnot, I sell on Whatnot, about these trading packs. And I think there was one other user, I think it was Minuteman Comics. We both made the same mistake. We saw the email and saw these, blind bags and these trading packs and figured they were cards. And that's something we were really interested in. And I do more vintage than modern stuff. Anyway, I don't sell a whole lot of new books, but it seems as though folks on Whatnot did do very well with these. And I just didn't buy any. I think they cost, what was it? I should look this up so I know it exactly. How much would it have cost? I was invited to something today. Trading cards, comic packs. exclusive access, exclusive drop, 250, 16, 3,000 packs. It didn't say on the email how much they were going to shop. Okay, that's for Whatnot users. Last chance secure X-Men comic packs. How much did we have to pay? It doesn't say. I'm not sure. I think it was $50 for each of these packs. And then, they're selling for triple that. It was well worth it. I did not participate, so don't blame me. But let's take a look at number 1 on the list, and it is Venom number 3. Surprise, surprise. The first appearance of Knull, the A cover by Ryan Stegman. And so this book is going for about $150 raw, $250 in a graded 9.8. I mean, an 8.0 for a modern book. Book from 2018 sold for $145. I think you would be better off buying, a not perfect raw copy, but that's just me. This book, Comic Boom did up. Actually, before the boom in 2020, it jumped up to $360. Never really lost much of its value. And now it's jumping up again. We got a sale for $320. Most of the other sales are in the $250 plus range. I'd say $250 is probably the right price on this. Maybe you could, list it at $275, maybe. But this was the king of them. It was all about Knull this week. Last week, Sony released their final trailer for Venom: The Last Dance. The trailer focused heavily on the intergalactic nature of the film and highlighted top-tier Marvel Comics villain Knull. There's been an alleged rumor floating around that Marvel was aiming to make a grounded Spider-Man 4 movie and that Sony wanted a multiversal film, including Knull and Venom. With the trailer dropped, the latter theory now has more reason to be believed. Kevin Feige came out and said, when we said we wanted Spider-Man to be more grounded, we just didn't tell you that ground was from an alien planet in another universe. However, neither studio has confirmed whether the King in Black will play a role in any future movies. While we're waiting for more news on Knull, take a time to look through your back issue bins at your LCS, as this book has been steadily dropping in prices the last few years. As with most Sony-related books, buyers beware. It's Morbin time. The little brief glimpse of the cameo, I don't think the fan base has been overly excited by what they've seen in the trailer of this movie. Leave in the comment section what you think. I mean, Sony's track record is really shaky, to say the least. And I mean, this is overhype. I'm not gonna go out looking for Venom number 3s in any condition. I'll look to see if I have any in the house. I'll look to see if I find them like at a flea market. Somebody missed it. It's good to know that that's just a book to pick up. The problem is there've been so many, like with all Marvel books, there've been so many volumes of Venom, and you find a variant cover. It's hard to remember if it's a variant cover for this run of Venom or subsequent runs. But there does have the possibility of it being intertwined into the greater MCU. MCU has been very conservative about revealing their plans going forward. We're getting little teases of, Vision Quest. We're not sure what the lineup is going to be kind of as we head into Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Maybe not an Eternals 2, maybe a second Shang-Chi film, maybe another season of Ms. Marvel. Nothing firm, but I have to believe that after the pandemic and the strikes, that Marvel kind of took the opportunity to reset everything and come up with a vision of what they want to do going forward, at least through Secret Wars. and how much the Sony properties intertwine with that. I mean, for instance, we saw Michael Keaton's Vulture go to the Sony verse and try to recruit Morbius in one of the worst post-credit sequences of all time. So it's just kind of head scratching as to where they're going. Are we going to have a Sinister Six with those two and Craven and Rhino and Adam Webb? I don't know. So again, beware. If we look at the track record of Sony films, especially these for modern books, we're talking like the first Craven is an established key, and that's not going to go down greatly in value. But for these other books, who knows? Let's take a quick look at numbers 11 through 20 because we do have a little more variation there. We have Wolverine number 1, the Pat Gleason 1 in 100 adamantium version. So similar to the Webhead. That's a pretty cool cover. I think that just came out. Venom number 3, the San Diego Comic-Con preview. The 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank, which has been number 1 for a couple of weeks, drops to number 13. Doomsday, his first appearance in Superman Man of Steel 18 comes back. Trailer footage leaked during San Diego for Superman and Lois. Maybe some people think that Avengers Doomsday will involve Doomsday. It won't. Howard the Duck number 1, first appearance of Gwenpool, first appearance of Mr. Sinister. He's a popular thought as to an X-Men villain when they do come to the MCU. First appearance of Gambit. Of course, Channing Tatum taking on that role and the possibility of that having a future. First appearance of Deadpool. Ultimates number 4, which just came out, this Doctor Doom cover. That was on the list last week. And Department of Truth number 25, the Martin Simmons 1 in 10. And of course, there has been some word that this property is going to be developed. I think that would be somewhat exciting, something to look forward to. So that's going to do it for the top 10 list. Are you going to run out and get Knull keys? Or are you going to just kind of sit and wait and see what happens because of the Sony track record? I'd like to thank you for stopping by and spending some time listening to me ramble on about comic books. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got something out of it. Leave a comment below. It's always appreciated. You can take a look at a couple of my other videos here, and this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.